Hello and welcome to our Bright Ideas Customer Enablement webinar on Brightspace Quick Start, top tools to kick off the term. To kick things off, just wanted to let you know of a couple of housekeeping items. We will use the Zoom Q&A box for any questions that you have throughout today's session, and we'll also have a designated time at the end for questions. A recording of the session will be posted on our Brightspace tutorials channel, and we will also share this slide deck with you that contains some additional resources, a copy of the Q&A from today's session for your reference via email following the session. So let's kick things off with our agenda. So we'll start with some quick introductions, and then from there we'll do an overview of the tools we will be exploring today. We will show you these tools in action through demonstration, and then we'll end with a discussion and questions. So my name is Renata, and I recently joined the Solutions Engineering team at D2L, but formerly a Customer Enablement Manager here. And joining me is my colleague Heather, who will be supporting with answering questions in the Q&A. We'll take a moment to clarify some terms. So D2L is the company, Brightspace is our product, a learning management system, and the Brightspace community is D2L's free online community where members can find really great teaching and learning information, share best practices, and connect with other professionals using Brightspace. So thank you, Heather, for adding that link into the chat for you to register if you're not yet a member. All right, so at the start of a term, we hear, the most important questions that we hear from faculty are sort of answers to the following questions. So how do I communicate with learners to keep them informed and engaged? How do I organize and deliver my content so it's easy for my students to understand and interact with? And then finally, how can I be more efficient when it comes to monitoring student progress and assessment so that I can really optimize my time spent supporting my learners? So Brightspace is built to help you tackle these challenges, and these are sort of the three themes that we're going to unpack today. So here's an overview of the tools that you can imagine being part of your Brightspace Quick Start Teaching Toolkit. And during our demonstration today, we will bring these tools to life. So let's go ahead and jump in. So here I am logged in my Business 201 course. I am the instructor here, Regina Davis, and this is your course homepage. So this is the first place that learners will see when they visit your course, and this serves as such an important communication hub for both faculty and learners. And because of this, it's really important that we set this up so that it's easy to navigate and find what you're looking for. So you have lots of flexibility in terms of how you can organize and design this area. But keeping it simple and really ensuring that learners know what to expect to find here is really important that is clearly communicated to them. So I want to start off by making you aware of some areas that are important for both you and learners as you start a new course, just starting with the course selector tool at the top. So clicking on this allows you to see which courses you are enrolled in, and you can use this pin button here to be able to make certain courses stay at the top so that it's easy to find every time. So for a learner and for someone teaching a course, this is really handy to be able to find those courses as quickly as possible. And then moving over to the right, we have our message alerts, which is going to surface any email or instant messages, subscription alerts. For example, if you subscribe to a discussion forum or thread, updates will appear here. And then finally, update alerts. So any new announcements, any due dates or grades, new grades released will appear here. And then next, moving over to your name, there's a couple of options here. If you click on your profile, you can add in a profile picture or other personal information. And this is for learners as well. They're able to do this. And then you also have your notifications that we can pop in here. This is an important one, just to check that your email address is correct here. And then you do have the option to set instant notifications if you'd like. So there's lots of different options here. If you would like to receive an email when certain things are updated in your course, this is a really great space to come to remind the learners in your course that this is an option as well to help remind them of things that are coming up in the course. And then finally, if we scroll back up, and the other option I want to show you is this language preferences here. So if you click on this, it's going to show you all the preferred, all the languages that are available in your institution. So in this demonstration environment, it's showing many different languages. Yours might just have one, but this is going to offer the option to change sort of that system language. For example, what's seen up in the navigation bar here in terms of system language, to change it to a preferred language. And again, that's going to be out of the options that are set by your institution. So now that you know how to pin your courses, set up notifications, and make sure you're aware of different alerts, let's talk about how you can create sort of a sense of community and a positive experience for learners by leveraging the rest of your home page. So let's jump back here, and I want to talk first about the navigation bar at the top. So this is where you can add links to different Brightspace tools, or they can be your own custom links that you add here. And this is really helpful because it allows you to access these tools that you need quickly, and they're just right at the top here for you. So what we recommend here is to keep this as streamlined as possible to really ease that navigation for both the instructor and for the learner to find what you're looking for. So for example, if you're not using the awards tool in your course right now, it might not make sense to have that one sitting up on your navigation bar, but of course you can always edit this to change it and modify to add different things or remove things as you see fit. Another thing that we find really useful is the ordering of the links here on your navigation bar. So adding tools sort of from the most frequently accessed on the left and then moving towards the right with those less frequently accessed tool is really helpful. And the navigation bar is also customizable based on role. So if we click on our name again, we have this really handy feature called View as Student. So here I am. If I view as student, you'll notice that this couple of links have disappeared here. That's my quick eval and the course admin tool. And those are not going to be visible to students because those are instructor or facing tools. So automatically those tools aren't going to be seen by the student. So this is a good little area to come to if you're curious about, hey, what does my course look like for my learners? So I'll just exit out of there. So I'm looking back as my instructor. Let's look at the course banner next. This is a really great opportunity to add an element of personalization to your course. So you're able to come in here and click on these three dots. You can go ahead and change the image here, so I can select something else if I'd like to, and it will change there for me. But what I can also do is upload an image that I might have. And this is a great way to even add images, for example, of your things that are relevant to your course at that particular time. So it's a nice way to personalize it and change it up based on what you're talking about in your course. The other thing that is really useful to really create a sense of warmth and welcome in your course is the ability to change the text that's visible here. So if we click on this customized banner text, the default is going to show your course name. However, you can make this custom, which is what I've done here. So you can make this whatever you want here, but the cool thing that I'd like to show is this area here that says, what replace strings can I use? And what this is going to do is if I click on this, there's lots of different sort of codes that I can add in that's going to replace it with. So if I grab this first name one, I'm just going to copy it and I'm going to add it in, just add a comma here and paste it here. And this first name replace string is actually going to, for whatever learner or whatever user is looking at my course, it's going to replace it with that person's name. So if I click save here, right away, since I'm logged in as Regina, it's going to say Regina's name, but if it was another individual, it would show their name. So a really simple way to add that personalization. A learner comes into your course and they see their name. That's really meaningful and powerful, and it's so simple to do. So wanted to share that one as a way to build that community in your classroom. Underneath the course banner is the rest of your homepage, which really consists of other sort of buckets of information that we call widgets. And the layout of this homepage is flexible and can be modified to suit the needs of your course and your students. But the ability to modify your homepage is controlled by permissions set by your institution. So some of you might have more flexibility than others to control sort of how this space looks. But let's look at the announcements widget here on our left. So we know that communication is really key for success, and the announcements tool is a powerful one because you can really post once and reach your entire class. So it's a really helpful tool to share important course information or reminders to learners, and they surface front and center on your homepage, so they're hard to miss. So here we can see a welcome message that I've created for learners for the beginning of the semester. And what I've done is used our video note tool and embedded one directly inside. And so I'll just play it here and you'll notice that I've got closed captions happening here as well. And this is generated automatically through the use of our video note tool. And this is a video of me introducing myself, providing some information about the course and letting my learners know sort of the first steps on how to get started in the course. So a really powerful tool to use you can use the video note tool wherever you see the Brightspace editor. So wherever you can create content in Brightspace, you can use this amazing tool. But I think using this on the homepage as an announcement to sort of kick things off in your course is really powerful. When announcements are used regularly by instructors, such as sharing a weekly post about what's happening and what's due that week, that can really boost engagement in your course. And it also saves instructors time because learners really get in the routine of visiting this announcement space to learn about what they need to do, instead of maybe sending an email to the instructor saying, hey, can you remind me of what's due this week? So it's a really handy tool that allows you to really save time and helps learners become independent as well with their learning. So let's go ahead and see how simple it is to actually create a new announcement. And from that, we'll just click on the drop-down menu and select New Announcement. And I'm going to make this a week 1 post. So I want to let my learners know what the first things they need to do are in my course. And I'm just going to copy and paste some content into my area here. And what's really powerful about the announcements, about this space, we're looking at an announcement, but in the Brightspace editor in general is this really handy tool called Insert Quick Link. And this allows me to link my students out directly to different areas of my course. And this is really helpful because it really helps with that navigation piece and helps our learners not get lost. So let me show you how this works. So my first area, I've said review the course syllabus. So I can actually highlight this. Now this course syllabus is in my content area. So if I select this insert quick link, I can actually choose where it is. So I can select content and I know that it's in my start here module and in that course information folder, and here it is. So I can actually select that. Now when my learner clicks on that, they're going to go straight to that content. Now I can do that with other activities in Brightspace too. So I have a discussion here, this getting to know you discussion. I can insert quick link, and this time it's a discussion, and I know it's in my course community area, and here's that getting to know you. I'm going to just skip this assignment just for timing, but we can see how really handy this is. We can also use some other editing tools within the Brightspace editor to change colors, change font, bold things. And then what's also really helpful about the announcements tool is that if you'd like to prepare anything in advance, you can actually set a start date. So say it's Friday night, I'm preparing this and I want it to post on Monday morning, I can actually set that start date for a time ahead, so that it's not going to show that. And that's really helpful in terms of preparing and making sure you're all set up for success. And you also have options to attach files here as well. And the announcements tool is also really handy if you wanted to use a release condition. If you only wanted that announcement to go out to certain learners, depending on a certain criteria you set, you can set that up using release conditions. But we're not going to jump into that right now. I am just going to publish this though right away so we can see what it looks like. So I can see that it's been created successfully. And if I jump right back into my homepage, I can see that announcement is there for me and I can review that. If I needed to go back and actually edit that announcement. If I wanted to change anything, I can click on that drop down and edit it. If I wanted that announcement to really stay at the top, I can select that pin to top, and now that's going to stay there. If I add another announcement that week, it's going to go underneath here. So that's a really handy tool as well, the ability to pin to top there. All right, moving on from announcements, let's look to the left here at another widget that's really helpful to have on your homepage, especially for starting off the school year or your semester, is the calendar widget. And so it's a really key communication tool because it centralizes due dates in one spot, which really helps learners stay on track and be very aware of what is coming up for them and what they're required to do. So you'll notice this first one here, my learning goals for business 201. This is actually an assignment that's already been created in the course. And what's great about this is that because I added this due date when I built my assignment, it's automatically going to surface here in the calendar tool. So any activities such as assignments, checklists, discussions, quizzes, surveys, things that have a due date or an end date can show up automatically in the calendar here. So there's actually no extra work on behalf of the instructor to add it here for the learner to see. And this really helps them stay accountable and see those clear deadlines here as well. You'll notice that I also have office hours in here. Now, this is something that I've manually added into the calendar so my learners can see when those are happening in the course. So you can have things automatically surface if you've attached a due date or end date, but you can also manually add things into your calendar. And let me show you how easy it is to do that. So if I go to the calendar from here, let's create an event. And in this case, I just want to add in my calendar when the add or drop deadline is for my learners. And in that description area, I actually want to give them more information that they might need to actually add or drop the class if required. So I'm going to add that in the description area. And then here I can go ahead and set the date and time for that event to show up. And if I did need to make this a reoccurrence, for example, my office hours, I made it a reoccurring event. In this case, I will not. And then if you wanted to add a location as well, you can do that for my office hours. I did in this case, not relevant, but you can go ahead and create it. And then we will head back into the calendar tool. We can see that it's been added here. And here we have our add drop deadline. So it's been added to the calendar, and if learners saw this, they could actually click into it right away and to be able to access that information right from here. So just go straight to that link, which is really handy. All right, before we move on from the home page, I just wanted to show if you do have permissions to edit your navigation bar, which is our top part here at the top, or your homepage. I just wanted to show you actually how you go about doing that if you have the permissions. So you would click on these three dots here, and then you can go ahead and select that customize this nav bar, and then you're likely going to be prompted to ask to work with a copy of that nav bar, and then you'll have sort of your own nav bar that you're working with to make edits with. And then for the home page, we would just scroll down here to these three dots, and then you would be able to select that edit this home page. And so from here, you'd be greeted with your home page. I've got my Business 201 home page here. And then here is where I would just simply be able to add in a widget if I wanted to. Let's just say I want the awards widget on here. I could add that in. If I wanted to remove anything, I could just exit here. So that's how we make those edits if we'd like to. All right. So now that you know how to create sort of a homepage that's easy to navigate and communicate efficiently with your learners using both the announcements and the calendar tool, let's answer the question that we might have next is how do I share my course materials with learners, and how do I do that in a way that is easy for them to access and even create content that's engaging for them to interact with. So I'm going to head over to the content area of my course. And what you're seeing here is our new content experience. So our new content experience offers a really intuitive and efficient way to create and manage and deliver course materials. And it's also really helpful for learners as well to stay engaged and on track with their learning. So on the left-hand side, we can see a very simplified layout and modern module design here. And on the right up here, we have a very simple 2-button experience to add existing materials that you may already have either on your computer or that you've created in Brightspace. Or you can select create new, and that allows you to build new content within Brightspace. So moving back over to the left-hand side, content can be organized in our units here. So I have 2 units here. I've got my Start Here unit and this Week 1 unit that I've started. And since I have an arrow here, I know that I have more in that Start Here unit. I actually have 2 additional folders that we can use to organize content in a unit. They're actually called lessons here. So I've opened up this course information area. I've got a couple of different topics underneath. Here's that syllabus that we were talking about before. I've got that course questions discussion area that I've embedded here. And then I've also actually created a start of term checklist for my learners. And so what I've done here is that I've actually brought activities I've already created into this content area. And this is helpful because my learners don't actually need to navigate to those different tools. For example, they don't need to go to discussions tool. They can find this right within their content area. And this helps them to really stay on track and not get lost when they're trying to find what they're looking for. What I really like about this as well, the specific course questions area, is that from the instructor perspective, I can easily see the description of this discussion area. I can jump in to actually edit it if I need to. And then I can also see if there's been any engagement within this discussion area. For example, in this completion summary area here, I can see that Harrison's posted a question, and I can actually go and actually see that straight from here. So it really streamlines the learning experience for both the instructor and the learner because they're seeing everything in one spot. Let's jump into this getting started introduction and goals area. And we have this assignment that we saw in our calendar area. So I've brought that in. And I want to show you actually how to do this now. So how do we bring something that we've already created in Brightspace into this content area? So what I'm going to do is bring in that getting to know you discussion that we talked about in my initial announcement that I showed you. So what I'll do is from this specific lesson that I've got here, I can click Add Existing because I've already created the discussion. And I'm going to go ahead and click Discussion and Course Community, and this is my Getting to Know You. So here I am, I've added it here. Now I'm also able to really easily drag and drop my content item. So I just added that discussion above that assignment. And here I can see again this beautiful interface here, and underneath in my completion summary, I can see I've actually have 2 submissions to this discussion already. So as the instructor, it's really easy for me to jump in and actually go to those evaluations as well. So now that we know how to add in existing content that we've already created into our content area, it's also really easy to add in content that you've already created in your course too. So say, for example, you have something on your computer, such as a PDF, you can easily bring it into Brightspace. So I'm going to start adding some content into this Week 1 area. And I have a PDF here that I can actually, that I'm just going to sort of drag from my desktop and drop it in here. And we can see that the file uploaded successfully, and I've got my PDF embedded here for my learners. So they don't need to navigate outside of Brightspace to see this. They can see it right within the content area. And you might notice as well that when I dropped in this PDF, it is hidden from students. So this is done purposefully, as when you're building content, we might not be ready to share it with learners yet. So once you are ready, you can use these visibility toggles to be able to make sure that is visible when you are ready to have it visible to learners. All right, so now just wanted to share another way. If you do have files, for example, on your Google Drive or your OneDrive, you can also select this Add Existing option, and you can select Google Drive or your OneDrive and add in content if you need to as well. So I'll just show a quick example of that. I think I have a late work and extension policy PDF that I just brought in. So if you have things in your drive, you can also bring that in really easily as well. I actually want to add that underneath my course information area. So I'm going to drag that over here right after my syllabus. So there's where that one will go. All right, so let's talk about how to actually create new content in Brightspace. So a really great thing to do at the beginning of your term is to perhaps have a course learning outcomes or objectives area so that learners know exactly what they're going to be getting out of your course. So let's build one of these within our content area. So I'm in this course information folder here. This is where I want that page to live. So I'm going to start by clicking there where I want it to go. And then I'm going to click on Create New this time. And I'm going to select Page. So here I am. You might think, oh dear, I'm starting on a blank page. That's overwhelming, but no need to feel overwhelmed because Brightspace actually has a bunch of responsive and accessible and interactive content topic pages that are actually available for free with our HTML templates. So I'm just going to scroll down here, and yours is going to look different than when mine's looking at here, but we're going to be looking at the version 5 templates here, and I'm just going to grab this module intro version 5 template here. And I'm going to make this full screen. And what you'll notice, just as I brought this in, I haven't done anything to it yet, is they are really instructor-friendly layouts, and they are designed to be edited here for you to add in your own information. And you'll notice that we're providing sort of best practices for how to add in your own content here. So this is super useful. You're not starting from scratch, and you can simply just copy and paste your information here. So I'm going to do that. So I'm just simply pasting in my information. And you can see it will embed really nicely on the page. So I'm just going to do that. Show you how simple that is to do. And I'm just going to add in, whoops, I put that in the wrong spot, a couple of the learning objectives for this course. And it's really simple to just paste in the information that you already have and build it out into this beautiful, accessible and engaging page here for your learners. I'll just add in one more, and there we go. Of course, you can also add additional things here on this page, but it really gives you a nice starting point to start with for your for building your content. So of course, again, we've got the Brightspace editor up here. And one thing I want to point out is to use our accessibility checker. So this is going to check if the content is accessible, and if there were any issues with it, it's going to point them out to you for you to make those changes. In this case, we were successful. There are no accessibility issues detected, but for example, if I used a different font or color that was not accessible, it would flag that for me. So I'm just going to exit out of that full screen right now, and I do want to make a title for this page, so I'm going to make it Course Learning Outcomes. And I'm just going to save and close. All right, and there it is, my page that I've created. Again, you'll notice that it has come in as hidden. I'm going to actually move this. I want it to be right after my, actually it's going to be the first thing under course information. I'm going to make that visible for my learners now. All right, so very simple in terms of creating content right within Brightspace. And I just showed you one example of one of those pre-made templates, but there are a handful of them, and we'll make sure to include the link to those HTML templates to be able to download those into your environment and use them within your Brightspace course. They are free and free for you to use. All right, so now that we've built some content in Brightspace, let's go back to this week 1 area. And I want to show you how you can actually create an assignment or a discussion or a quiz right within content too. So you don't necessarily actually need to go to the specific assessment tool. You can build it right within the content area if you wanted to. Since I'm going to create an assignment in my week 1, so I'm going to make sure I'm clicked on that week 1 module here, and I'm going to click on Create New, and this time I'm going to select Assignment. And this is just going to be a little assignment proposal here and very brief instructions. But I did want to show you as well that it's very simple to add in any files that you have to an assignment that you've created. So if I click on Add a File in my computer, again, I'm just going to drag and drop a file that I have. On my computer for this assignment, and we'll find that. Here we are, my assignment proposal, just a Word document, and I can go ahead and these are the basics. I can also set some conditions here for the purposes of today. I'm just going to leave those, but let's just save and close and see what that looks like. And here we are. Again, I'm going to make that visible, and that is ready for us right within our content area. So again, I can see those instructions, and I can see that completion summary to keep an eye on who has completed that. All right. So now that you know how to add in existing content from your computer or your Google Drive or OneDrive into Brightspace, or even content that you've already created in Brightspace into your course, and also how to create new content, you might be thinking, how can I copy something from a previous course I taught into a course, my course for this year? So that's a common question and a really good one. You never want to recreate something that you've already built. So I'll show you how to do this. So if you are trying to copy something into your course from this year, you always start at the destination course. So my Business 201 is where I want the content to be. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to go to the course admin tool, and I'm going to find the import export copy components. Now, I would like to copy components from another org unit. So I'm going to search for that offering. And the offerings that I want to grab from is actually my Business 101 course. I taught this last year, and I'd like to copy something from this Business 101 course. So I'm going to add that one. Now it's been selected. I'm going to click on, and this is an important step, select components. I don't want to copy everything, just some things. So I'm going to click select components. This is just prompting me that, hey, you've already copied some things from this course into your Business 201 course. It's just prompting me, and I do want to copy from it again. And what is going to bring up all the different components of my course. And I actually want to bring in my week 1 discussion and my week 1 quiz from last year's course. So I'm going to click on discussions, and I only want that one discussion. So I'm going to click on that select individual items to copy. And then also from my quizzes, again, select individual items to copy. And let's continue. So from my discussions, I want that week 1 discussion. And from my quiz, I want my week 1 quiz, and that's it. So I can go ahead and add those in. If I want to offset any dates, I can do that here, but I can also do that in my, my course as well. So I'm just going to click finish. And then it's just going to tell me that that copy is in progress. And here you can see all the other things that I've copied from my other course. And that copy's in progress. And then shortly we will be able to see those items in my Business 201 course. And here it is, it's complete. So let's head to the content area and see those surfaced for us. So let's open up week 1 and let's see where those went. Okay, so let's go into our discussion area. And we wanted to copy over that week 1 discussion. So here we have it. Here's that week 1 discussion right here. And we also added in that quiz. I don't have the quizzes tool in my navigation bar here. So I'll just go to quizzes from here and we should see that week 1 quiz here. Awesome. So now we've got those items in our course. And if I wanted to add those actually into the content area, like we did before, we would click on add existing and then go through that process again to bring that discussion or quiz right into the content area. All right. So before we move on, just a couple of quick tips about content. So start small. You don't need to build out your whole course at one time. You can just start with a few modules. Like for example, I just have my start here in my week 1, and you can continue building from there. Just like we saw with the ability to copy from one course to another, any content that you've created in Brightspace can be copied from year over year. So you don't have to create things twice, which is really handy. And then I also wanted to, since we're on the topic of content, a really handy tool here is if you click on this wheel, you can click on view reports and you'll actually have access to these content statistics to be able to see more information about what users have looked at, your learners have looked at your content. So there's some great data in here for you to look at, and you can see what, who has visited, how much time they've spent, and drill down into certain learners as well. So just a really a little quick tip into the content area if you're curious about that. All right, so now that we know how to share content with learners and build content in Brightspace, let's look at our last theme, which is all about supporting student learning and saving time. So there's 2 tools that we're going to talk about here. I'm going to jump into a different course, my Business 101 course, just because it has some more additional data in it to showcase these tools more effectively. So let's jump over there. The first tool is Quick Eval. So we've built a tool that makes grading really easy and saves you time because you don't have to navigate to all your different activities to see what requires grading. So what Quick Eval does is it surfaces an aggregated view of every assignment, discussion, or quiz that requires your attention or grading. And then you can actually hop in and grade it right from here. So here you can see we've got a variety of different assessment types, and there's some filtering ability here, which is really handy as well. So if you wanted to just look at a certain activity, you could click on that one and jump into it, and then you could go ahead and jump right into that assessment process here and evaluate the learner. So this is a really great tool to use to be able to streamline that assessment process and provide that feedback to your learners more efficiently. So we were looking on the activities view. I want to show you the submissions view. Oh, let's jump back into 101 here. So here's our submissions view here, and this is helpful. It's going to show you a list of those individual submissions that require your attention. So if we jump into Faith here to look at this My Learning Goals for Intro to Business, we can see her actual submission here, and then we can go ahead and start providing feedback to her if we want, and then go ahead and publish that. But then you'll notice we can use these arrows at the top to actually navigate to the next learner that requires our attention. And here we have a different assignment. We have Paulina's assignment here where we can open it up and see what she's submitted. And then you can see we also have these great additional tools such as rubrics to evaluate learners as well. And annotation tools to be able to provide learners with that detailed feedback as well. And so this quick eval really helps to streamline the navigation here and really assess learners quickly and efficiently. So that is the quick eval tool. Not only can you visit Quick Eval by adding it as a link on your navigation bar, but you can also add this to your course homepage. So in my Business 101 course, I've got this Quick Eval widget on my homepage, which is only visible to my to instructors, not my learners. And from here, I can actually click into those assessments right away. So just by clicking here, I can jump right into that assessment process here as well. Okay, so next up is the class progress tool. And this is a tool that really allows you to quickly analyze and see performance on how students are performing in your course and their engagement levels in your course. So there's 4 different indicators that can display at one time. These are customizable. So you can use this settings area to actually change out those indicators and choose something else. So if you wanted, for example, to replace this checklist one, you could replace it with a different one. So there's lots of different options here to see, and you can just save and close and change that up. And this really allows instructors to have a quick bird's eye view of how learners are doing in the course. And what it's also very helpful to do is if you click on a learner, you can actually go ahead and very quickly engage with them if needed. So you could send them an email, you can send an instant message, and you can also view more granular data by looking at the user progress. So now I can see actually in more detail how Faith is doing, and this really informs me and helps to allow me as the instructor to support her with the next steps. So for example, I can actually look and see in more detail at a certain assignment and look at details about that and the feedback that was provided and actually her specific submission that she's provided. So this is a really helpful tool as you're engaging with learners one-on-one, checking in with them, but also as a bird's eye view to see very quickly how learners are progressing in the course. Before we look quickly at the learner perspective for Faith, I want to show you what some of these aspects look like as a learner. The final thing as an instructor that I want to remind you about when you are starting a semester is making sure that your course is active. So this might already be set up for some of you, but just wanted to show you in case this is something that you have to do manually. So if you go to your course admin area and your course offering information, you will see a checkbox that says course is active. And when this is checked, that means that learners are able to see your course. So this is an important step as you're starting off the year to make sure that that course is active in order for your learners to see it. All right. So for the final couple minutes here before we jump into our discussion, I do want to show you the learner perspective. So here I am as Faith in my Business 201 course, and I can go ahead and see the homepage. It looks very similar to how it looked for the instructor, Regina, except you'll notice we don't have the course admin and that quick eval option here on the navigation bar. I am going to refresh this, because you might have remembered that replace string we added in. So now we can see Faith's name here, which is really great. And if we scroll down, here's that new announcement we made. I want to talk about the work to do widget. Now we just talked about quick eval, which surfaces those outstanding assessments that require the instructor's attention, but the work to do widget is a widget that can be placed on the course homepage, and this is for learners. And so this is going to help them understand what is coming up for them to complete. So from here, I can see very clearly that I have an assignment here and a discussion to complete. And now Faith can actually click from here straight into that specific assignment and go ahead, read the instructions, and actually complete her submission straight from here. So again, another tool to really streamline the that process and help them complete their work as efficiently and as effectively as possible. Now, if I head over into the content area as Faith, I have this really nice view in the content area that shows me how many things I've completed based on how many topics there are within the certain module. So this is really handy. We didn't see this on the instructor side, but now you can see once I clicked into that course learning outcomes, it's now checked off as completed, which is really great to help me understand, where I'm at, what I still need to do. And the other thing I wanted to show was, say, for example, Faith is going into, she's clicking into this discussion. Now, similar to how the instructors saw that it had that ability to go and edit the discussion post, well, when Faith comes in here, she's going to see a status of, has she posted? No, she can actually go ahead and go straight into that discussion and post to it from here. So I'll just open that up to show you what that looks like, but she can go ahead and engage with that right away. So you can see how helpful that would be for a learner to be able to see their work right in line here and to be able to go and submit straight from here. So this is really, really helpful when activities are embedded straight within content here. And the final area I want to show from the learner perspective is the class progress tool. So when the instructor can see sort of a glance of all of the learners, Faith can see her own progress summary. And this is really helpful because it provides that visibility for the learner. And they're always in tune with how they're doing in the course. So they've got all these different areas that they can see within the course. I'm actually going to show you in the Business 101 course where Faith has a little bit more progress. But if we jump down to, for example, an assignment here, just very similar to how we saw on the instructor side, she can see the grade that she received. She can see the feedback and the inline feedback that her instructor has actually given her here. So this is really powerful because that feedback does not get lost and it's always there for them. So this visibility really helps them to be accountable for their learning. We can see some feedback that's been given there, and they can check on their progress independently. So this means that maybe there's less emails coming the way of the faculty to ask about how they're progressing in the course because they can really see it all from here. All right. Okay, so just a overview, here are the different tools that we looked at, and we'll just start to summarize right away. So I'll just put this up as I share the next couple slides. We would love to hear your feedback. This really helps us to improve our offerings for future sessions and really help better meet your needs. So as I talk through the next few slides, we would love if you could take a minute to fill this out. And thanks, Heather, for putting the link in the chat to that as well. If you don't want to scan the QR code and do it via the link, that's great. We would love to invite you to join the D2L Champions program. So being a part of this program allows you the opportunity to receive points for attending webinars, submitting blog posts, and even giving us reviews online. So you can redeem these points for gift cards and other additional services. And we will add the link in the chat as well to join our Champions program. This might have been your first webinar with us, but we do have a lot more coming up. So here are a look at the topics we have planned through February. And the link for the registration link to register for these will be in the chat as well. And we also have an overview page that sort of lists all the descriptions, and you can find all of our past sessions there as well. So we were talking about the new content experience in today's session. We are going to actually have a dedicated session on that next month. So be sure to join us for that one if you are interested in learning more about the new content experience. And I also want to make you aware of a couple of other really great sessions that our training team hosts every month. The first is a Q&A drop-in session, so you can join and ask any question that you have and get your question answered by a trainer. And the second is a focused what's new in Brightspace. So they are going to cover everything in our monthly release notes. So be sure to check those out and join if you're available. I believe the next two sessions are September 16th and October 1st. So thank you, Heather, for putting that link in the chat. That is where you can sign up on our events page. Thank you again very much for joining us today. And we hope to see you at our next session, and stay tuned for the follow-up resources from this session. Thanks again, and enjoy the rest of your day.